welcome Pat Goodberry Dyck.
Welcome everybody. We are so delighted that you are here this evening, and we want you to just take a bit of a journey back in time with us. Life for our founder Brian and his twin brother Bruce, who is with us this evening. Began at a very early age. Thank you for laughing. That was Brian's joke, and for anyone who didn't get it, please line up and see him later. And there they are. Aren't they adorable? Which one's the intelligent looking one? Both of them are. Moving right along. They began in Winnipeg, Manitoba, so they could be close to their mother, Margot. What a good idea. The Lee boys recognized the economic opportunity of Alberta at age 7. Now that's pretty amazing that they figured out that this was the place to be. And they persuaded their mother, Margot, to come along. And here they are in the great prairies, leaving behind Winnipeg and moving to Alberta. Brian took his first speaking course in 1971 in junior achievement in grade 10, where his speaking talent was quickly recognized. But I understand you can't actually see the white socks in this picture. Is that really you in the middle with that real tie on? That's amazing. You may know this about Brian, that he very seldom wears a real tie. He went on to serve as president of the Oxford Debating Society at the University of Calgary. Looks pretty intelligent there, if you ask me. And Brian left university to pursue his passion for politics and organized a dozen successive political campaigns. Now realize that word is successive, not successful. And there's some pictures from those successive political campaigns. Is there anyone who remembers any of those days in the audience? Oh yeah, there's lots. We're going to hear some stories, I'm sure. He served as an executive assistant to 3 opposition MLAs in the Alberta legislature, and then he served for 3 years with George Holm as executive director of the Chinatown Development Task Force. And there is some clippings from that time. And in November 2007, Chinatown celebrated 30 years of survival. And I mean, that was way before my time, but I understand that they had planned to put a freeway right through this area. This restaurant wouldn't be here today. So thank you, Brian and team, for saving this restaurant and Chinatown. In 1974, Brian took his first crack as a candidate himself, running for alderman at age 26. Aww. Isn't that cute? And lost by 1,010 votes. Disappointed, but not discouraged. He worked the next 3 years as VP and general manager of a chain of retail furniture stores. Does anyone remember his TV commercials? Yeah, if anyone has any of those on film, I'd really like to see them. I think that would be quite interesting. But Brian's passion was still politics. And on October 18th, 1977, after personally knocking on 10,000 doors and wearing out his only good pair of shoes, Brian was elected the youngest alderman in Calgary's history, representing Ward 6. One of his many achievements was to initiate the design competition for Calgary's new City Hall. In 1980, he was re-elected with the largest majority of all 14 wards. And you might see that caption there, young pup, in landslide. Of course, we still refer to him as a young pup. Well, some of us do, but not me personally. But in 1982, Brian decided to shift his focus to Edmonton. Oh, look at that mustache. and won the nomination in Calgary, Buffalo, and was elected member of the Legislative Assembly for Calgary, Buffalo. Looks really good, Brian. But Edmonton wouldn't keep him, and he continued his interest in speaking. And in 1983, he wrote the Canadian bestseller, The Wedding MC, now in its 12th printing. And this is about the place where I came in, because I was getting married when I first met Brian Lee, and he bribed me by giving me a copy of The Wedding MC so I would come and work for him. Couldn't pay me anything, but he bribed me with a book. That's why I'm still there. It can easily be bought, apparently. And followed by 6 more books, and a soon-to-be-released Hospital of Choice, which will be coming out later this year. And quite by chance, Brian was invited to give a motivational talk on May 28, 1984, to 20 insurance salespeople at the Charterhouse Hotel in Winnipeg, Manitoba. Kind of goes back to his roots, doesn't it? And now he was hooked. He had a new mistress, professional speaking, and he was fascinated with the concept of self-development. Brian brought personal growth courses to Calgary. Unfortunately, or fortunately, 2 years later, 6,500 constituents voted that he pursue his career exclusively as a full-time professional speaker. And a month later, Brian Lee and Associates had a contract to deliver a national sales training program for Hyundai. In the early years, Brian's focus included conducting public speaking courses, providing leadership training to Sunshine ski resort managers, and giving keynotes to conferences throughout North America. Along the way, Brian founded Canadian Ammonite Gemstones, which became the official gemstone of the 1988 Winter Olympics. When brother Bruce joined the team in 1989, Brian changed the company name to B. Lee and Associates. And Bruce and Brian collaborated for 15 years until Bruce left to form his own company a few years ago. Brian and his team originated a number of innovative training initiatives, including founding of the Elected Leaders Training Institute, training city, county, provincial, and state leaders to improve their leadership skills throughout Canada and the US. And Brian conducted mega customer service rallies in 19 Canadian cities coast to coast. Then with the shift to highly customized on-site training programs, the name was changed to Custom Learning Systems, CLS, to which the name still stands today. You may be interested to know that Brian has been rated the #1 customer service speaker in the world twice by the International Customer Service Association. CLS opened a dozen regional offices, the most successful in Winnipeg, Manitoba, 16 years ago, partnering with Amy Tatro. And that is the Winnipeg office where it was, and Amy and Michael Bear are pictured here. And Michael now leads that office. And now to continue with the journey, would you please welcome all the way from North Carolina, Susan Freeman.